What's good? This your boy AJ. Other Deep Thought. I'm back at it again. Once again. Ha ha. What's up, YouTube? How y'all doing today, man? I ain't finna waste no time. I'm finna get straight to it, man. I know I've been kind of down with videos, but I'm back at it again with a brand new one, man. I've been meaning to get to this one. We ain't gonna worry about it. So, as you know, about 3 weeks ago, for folks that don't know, a legendary MC, Special Ed, songs like I Got It Made, Crooklyn Dodgers, all that. He did an interview with Nori, DJ EFN at Drink Champs, and they asked him about, Wu Tang or NWA. And Special Ed had gave some very observative questions, some observative answers. He said NWA was the age of destruction when it comes to hip hop and what you see today. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people got a lot of questions about it. Some people agree, some people don't agree, And I just want to talk about it, give you my perspective about the whole thing and whatnot. Shout out to the brother Forgotten Kingz TV, the brother Sensei Rip. Shout out to him and his channel, man, for the video that I'm about to play today. Special Ed did an interview. Well, not an interview. He talked with Dad's Corrupt. He talked to the Dog Pound and other West Coast legends about his comments regarding of NWA. All because of what he said in the Drink Champ. So we're gonna check that video out, man. And I'm gonna give you my thoughts about the whole situation at the end. But before we get into that, always remember everything that I do and use is under the ad of the fair use. So we finna get into the video, man, and we just finna check it out. Let's go.
Recently, legendary rapper Special Ed was on Drink Champs where he made some controversial comments about the rap group NWA. Special Ed believes that NWA is the rap group that introduced the age of destruction to hip hop. Alright, now of course, a couple MCs from the West Coast had something to say. One person in particular was Crooked I, also known as King Crooked. He responded to Special Ed via TMZ. Another rapper by the name of Exhibit also had something to say about Special Ed's comments. So before we get into what the Dog Pound had to say to Special Ed directly, let's check out the snippet from his Drink Champs interview so you can hear exactly what Special Ed had to say about NWA.
Wu-Tang was dropping knowledge and positivity.
Right.
NWA brought the age of destruction.
Damn. Jesus Christ.
NWA brought the age of destruction to our children and our culture.
Wow.
Period. Hey, I respect all of them as men,
right,
but as the art form, and you want me to speak on the art form, I'm gonna tell you what it is. That's where it started.
Wow.
That's where the agenda started, and that's where the destruction began.
Now, yesterday, both the Dog Pound and Special Ed went on IG Live to clear the air about Special Ed's comments on NWA introducing the age of destruction to hip hop. All right, now, of course, for the past couple of weeks, a lot of MCs on the West Coast, they were very offended by what Special Ed said on Drink Champs. So, of course, this conversation had to happen. So, y'all know how we do, man. Let's check out this clip provided by Dog Pound Records so y'all can hear exactly what was said between the Dog Pound, Special Ed, and a few other people that were on the IG Live as well. All right, now I'll catch y'all afterwards with my commentary. All right, let's get right to it.
They put their own headlines. They put their own headlines. The narrative. Right, like did NWA ruin hip hop? That's not what I said. And my point was basically NWA was used for the era that we're in now. We're in the era of destruction. We're destroying ourselves as a hip hop community. Period. We got teenagers out here killing each other in every state, every urban city, over hip hop music, over tweets, over social media. So that's my point. And none of this existed before the FBI got involved.
Right. Right.
Wait. Are you saying that NWA got the Federal Bureau of Investigations to get involved?
They got
Hoover.
Yeah. They got
You
their
right, they did.
They been doing
that's
that.
What we do on the West Coast. We push that line and we let everybody know, fuck you and fuck you and
Right.
Cuz we the Crips and the Bloods, cuz the Mexicans. Don't be.
Now, before I get deep into the video, I just want to say that as far as I remember, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, everybody have their own opinion. You know, it is what it is. But last time I checked, Cube still alive, Dre still alive, Ren still alive, Yella still alive. The only one that's not here anymore is Eazy-E. So why in the world is the Dog Pound or any other rapper, you know, from the West Coast? And again, I respect how they feel, you know what I'm saying? I understand, you know, they all contribute to the West Coast sound. Even though Corrupt is from Philadelphia and Exhibit is originally from like New Mexico by way of Detroit, but they all still contribute to the culture as far as the West Coast goes. You know what I'm saying? Why is they trying to talk and defend where Ice Cube himself already spoke about it on Twitter? Y'all can go to Ice Cube's Twitter page and find out how he feels about what Special Ed said. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna just leave it right there for now. Let's get back to the rest of the video.
Mad at us though, cuz. Ain't nobody. We ruined something like ruined hip hop. We took hip hop to a different world. NWA took hip hop up top. I love you, big bro, and I love you.
First of all, I love all of y'all. And I said I respect them and I know them. And this ain't got nothing to do with defamation of character. This got to do with me pointing out when things change for us.
I heard you say that.
Things change for all of us at that point. And it brought the age of destruction, which we are in now. We are in the age of destruction. I ain't say they out here bashing up this and doing that and doing that. I said they brought the attention of the government.
Right.
And there was already an agenda. As we know, the FBI dismantled and destroyed the Black Panthers. They assassinated Malcolm X. They assassinated Martin Luther King. So what you think they're going to do to us? We low-hanging fruit.
Facts.
They sending us all to jail already. This is what I'm trying to tell you. And then now everybody out here snitching on each other. Everybody out here killing each other.
GMOs, the food you eating is deadly. Fucking artificial chicken. They been trying to kill niggas.
Exactly, and we know this, and we ain't talking. I wasn't talking about the whole of history. They asked me a simple question. They asked me Wu-Tang or NWA. I made a joke about Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang is for the kids. Ha, that's a joke. And then I spoke on the historical significance of NWA in our culture. I mean, that's basically what it is, what it boiled down to. When they got that letter, they promoted it. They ran with it. They made it into like the tool for them to be on top of the game.
Right. Right. Right.
That's the fact. It ain't no. I love Dre. I love all of them. You know, Q, whatever. Like it ain't nothing. You know, disrespectful. And I said that. I said I respect them.
See, in our mind as elders, we was like, okay, I know Ed. I fuck with Ed. We got to get him on the phone because we got to straighten this out because the attack is coming from the West on Ed, and I know Ed because we done hooked up. We part of this whole unifying this whole thing. See how they separate that shit, Ed?
That's what we getting back to right now.
Yeah.
The energy, nigga. Right, exactly. This has brought the need for this conversation because the minute something goes wrong or somebody says something that you don't like, it's automatically New York niggas.
Yeah.
West Coast.
Right.
West Side, East Coast.
Right.
And it's not about that. It's about what is happening to all of us in our community. I ain't even talking about just West Side and nothing. I'm talking about Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Atlanta, Florida, New York. I'm talking about everywhere we are killing each other.
So, Ed, do us this favor. Since you got us on here, what would you like to say to our homies and our artists that wants to attack you and say what they're saying? What do you want to say to them, man? From, just to put it back in context so we can take that back.
them that
Right.
they misconstrued my message.
Right.
My message has been edited by side publications that's not even Drink Champs.
Right.
It's separate magazines.
Got
that
it.
Their own headlines.
Right.
Their own narrative on this. But what we gonna do is we gonna have our own as us. As
Facts.
leaders of the culture.
Yeah.
And we gonna discuss this openly.
Okay.
Amongst all of us, East Coast, West Coast,
Yeah.
West, South.
Yeah.
We all coming together. We gonna come to the Grammy Museum in
Yeah.
LA.
Okay.
And we all gonna.
There it is.
Right.
I'm gonna fast forward this here so y'all can see where I'm finna go with this video. Now, before I do that, I want to speak on a few points. You know what I'm saying? Now, that again, there's some people that got real upset at Special Ed for saying what he said. And people feel how they want to feel. You know, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes your opinion ain't always needed, you know. And again, like I said, Special Ed said what he said, and he stand on everything that he said, you know what I'm saying? Some people feel some type of way. It is what it is. It what it don't really matter if you agree or if you don't disagree. What matters is, did you actually pay attention to what he said? You know what I'm saying? And I took it upon as I agree with Special Ed, but I agree to disagree. Meaning, you know, I agree but I don't agree. But when I say that, I'm not saying I don't agree. I'm not saying I don't agree with what Special Ed is saying. Everything he's saying is on the money. What I'm saying is, it's deeper than to say, oh, NWA, they started the age of destruction. I think it's deeper than NWA. And I'm going to show you what I mean in just a moment. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to fast forward the rest of the video, and I'm going to get to what I'm talking about so you can see what I'm talking about in a clear view. So I'm going to go on fast forward because they really not talking much after this point. They only just talking about, you know, linking up and having a conversation at the Grammy Awards. So right here is, I'm going to get to my point so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's go.
I don't think you really had nothing to do with that. The people got it and ran with it.
I know, but somebody grabbed it because
A magazine out of Miami did that.
yeah, they did, cuz, and that's my point.
They did.
Look, cuz, look, hey, look, cuz, reality time.
Yeah.
Once you do it, it becomes public. Anybody can grab it and fuck us off.
Right.
Okay? So they tried to fuck Ed off. The key.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it, y'all. That was the Dog Pound on IG Live with Special Ed to get him to clear the air about his comments he made on NWA, introducing the age of destruction to hip hop. All right, now, in this situation, a lot of MCs from the West Coast were triggered the moment they seen some of these platforms, you know, running the headline of NWA, right, ruin hip hop, according to Special Ed, right? That's not what the man said. He was making an observation on what he believed happened in the culture, right? He's seen a shift in the culture the moment that NWA came on the scene, right? But of course, with some of these platforms, you know, they're gonna frame it in a way to trigger that engagement. And this is what happened, right? Now you got all these upset MCs offended at Special Ed's comments, not just because he's a legend in the rap game, right, that a lot of people looked up to, but also understanding that, you know, it can be taken as disrespect or a shot to NWA and everything they contributed to the rap game, right? So to see this conversation take place on IG Live, man, listen, you got to give it up to all parties involved. But one thing I will say is it reminded me of this interview that Crazy Bone, right? Everyone's praying for Crazy Bone right now. For those who may not know, he's in the hospital dealing with his lungs. He's having
I'm going to fast forward this right here. Now, the brother Sensei Rip found a very important piece of history, if I like to add. Crazy Bone did an interview a long time ago talking about that several hip-hop executives, well, music executives, had a secret meeting talking about what they was going to do with the future of hip-hop. You know what I'm saying? They had a secret meeting, per se. and they were speaking about hip hop and, you know, in the secret meeting, what they was going to do to change the landscape of hip hop. So I want to play that interview in its full context. You know what I'm saying? And after that, I'm going to give you my thoughts and perspectives about the whole situation. So we're going to check it out real quick. Let's go.
With special ed, and also what Crazy Bone said in this video, this interview he did years ago. Let me know your thoughts on all of this, man, in its entirety down in the comment section below. But that's all I got for y'all today. My name is Sensei Rip. Till next time, peace.
The secret meeting that changed rap music and destroyed a generation.
Damn.
So it says, hello. After more than 20 years, I finally decided to tell the world what I witnessed in 1991, which I believe was one of the biggest turning points in popular music and ultimately American society. I have struggled for a long time weighing the pros and cons of making my story public, as I was reluctant to implicate the individuals who were present that day. So I've simply decided to leave out the names and all the details that may risk my personal well-being and that of those who were, like me, dragged into something they weren't ready for.
Damn.
Hold on, let me
Y'all
so
hear
we
that?
gonna tell the story.
We gonna tell the story. We ain't scared.
You know what I'm saying? What they gonna do?
They after us, not explaining.
Look, that black van.
So look, so he says, between the late 80s and early 90s, I was what you may call a decision maker with one of the more established companies in the music industry. I came to Europe in the early 80s and quickly established myself in the business. The industry was different back then, since technology and media weren't accessible to people like that, like they are today. The industry had more control over the public and had the means to influence them any way it wanted.
Right.
This may explain why in early 1991, I was invited to attend a closed-door meeting with a small group of business insiders to discuss rap music's new direction. Rap music's new direction.
Yeah.
Y'all hear that?
Little did I know we would be asked to participate in one of the most unethical and destructive business practices ever seen.
Crazy.
So this was the meeting. The meeting was held at a private residence on the outskirts of Los Angeles. I remember about 25 to 30 people were being there.
Right.
Most of them familiar faces. Speaking of those I knew, we joked about the theme of the meeting, as many of us did not care for rap and failed to see the purpose of being invited to a private meeting to discuss the future of hip-hop.
Talk to him.
Among the attendees was a small group of unfamiliar faces who stayed to themselves and made no attempt to socialize beyond their circle. Based on their behavior and formal appearances, they didn't seem to be from our industry. Our casual chatter was interrupted when we were asked to sign a confidentiality agreement preventing us from publicly discussing the information presented during the meeting. Needless to say, this intrigued, in some cases, disturbed many of us. The agreement was only a page long, but very clear on matters and consequences, which stated that violating the terms would result in job termination immediately. We asked several people what this meeting was about and the reason for such secrecy, but could not find anyone who had the answers for us. A few people refused to sign and walked out. Nobody stopped them. I was tempted to follow, but curiosity got the best of me.
That's right.
A man who was part of the unfamiliar group collected all the agreements from us. So now it's going to get to the good part because the meeting about to start.
Talk to him, Jake.
It says, quickly after the meeting began, hold on one second.
Get your popcorn, y'all.
Y'all get ready.
Popcorn, get your pistol. No,
For real, though.
Quickly after this meeting began, one of the industry colleagues, who shall remain nameless like everybody else, thanked us for attending. He then gave the floor to a man who only introduced himself by first name and gave no other details about his personal background. I think he was the owner of the residence, but that was never confirmed. He briefly praised all of us for the success we had achieved in our industries and congratulated us for being selected as part of this small group of decision makers. At this point, I began to feel slightly uncomfortable and the strangeness of this gathering. The subject quickly changed as the speaker went on to tell us that the respective companies we represented had invested in a very profitable industry, which could become even more rewarding with our active involvement.
Damn.
He explained that the companies we worked for had invested millions into the building of privately owned prisons, and that our positions of influence in the music industry would actually impact the profitability of these investments. Then he says, I remember many of us in the group immediately looking at each other in awe and confusion. At the same time, I didn't know what a private prison was, but I wasn't the only one. Sure enough, someone asked what these prisons were and what any of this had to do with music. We were told that these prisons were built by privately owned companies who receive funding from the government based on the number of inmates. The more inmates, the more the government would pay these prisons. It was also made clear to us that since these prisons are privately owned, as they become publicly traded, we'd be able to buy shares. Most of us were taken back by this. Again, a couple of people asked what this had to do with us. At this point, my industry colleague who had first opened the meeting took the floor again and answered our questions. He told us that since our employees had become silent investors in this prison business, it was now in their interest to make sure that these prisons remain filled. Our job would be to help make this happen by making music which promote criminal behavior. Rap being the...
I hope y'all just heard that. I'm finna go back. If you didn't, I'm finna go back so you can hear it clearly. Check out what Crazy Bone just said.
Questions. He told us that since our employees had become silent investors in this prison business, it was now in their interest to make sure that these prisons remain filled. Our job would be to help make this happen by making music which promote criminal behavior. Rap being the music of choice. He assured us that this would be a great situation for us because rap music was becoming an increasingly profitable market for our companies, and as employees, we'd also be able to buy stocks in these prisons. Immediately, silence came over the room. You could have heard a pin drop. I remember looking around to make sure I wasn't dreaming and saw half of the people with dropped jaws. My daze was interrupted when someone shouted, "Is this a fucking joke?" At this point, things became chaotic.
Right.
Two of the men who were part of the unfamiliar group grabbed the man who shouted and attempted to remove him from the house. A few of us, myself included, tried to intervene. One of them pulled out a gun, and we all backed off. They separated us from the crowd, and all four of us was escorted outside. My industry colleague, who opened up the meeting earlier, hurried out to meet us and reminded us that we had signed an agreement and would suffer the consequences of speaking out about this publicly, or even those who attended the meeting.
Damn.
I asked him, why was he involved with something so corrupt? And he replied, it's bigger than the music business and nothing we can do. And no, it's bigger than the music business and nothing we'd want to challenge without risking consequences. We all protested as we walked back into the house. I remember word for word the last thing he said. It's out of my hands now. Just remember you signed an agreement. He then closed the door behind him. The men rushed us to our car and actually waited until we drove off the property.
Damn.
So this meeting, bro.
Now that's a lot for a meeting right there.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, and this person later on, he said, you know, this person actually ended up leaving the music industry after this happened. A few years after this, he ended up leaving the music industry.
Okay.
And he'd say he just, like, you know, over the years he just felt guilty because he said as he sat back and he watched these plans come into play, come to a reality
over 2 decades.
He sat back and was like, wow, they really pulled it off.
Yeah.
They really pulled this off. He was like, they were told not to sign any more political rappers, any more rappers that had messages in their music.
No positivity.
It was all to be gangster rap music that they promoted.
You heard that? You heard that? Let's go back one more time just in case if you didn't hear it.
2K.
He sat back and was like, wow, they really pulled it off.
Yeah.
They really pulled this off. He was like, they were told not to sign any more political rappers, any more rappers that had messages in their
no
music.
Positivity.
It was all to be gangster rap music that they promoted and put out.
So if you wonder where Brand Nubians went, where Poor Righteous Teachers went, where Public Enemy went, where KRS-One went, and all sorts of groups like that was talking, even Queen Latifah and Moni Love and those, you know what I'm saying? It's a back door.
Yeah, anything that was harmless, fun rap, anything that had a message in it had to go.
Yeah, that's why if you even notice though,
we talk about that all the time.
Even be brief with it, you know what I'm saying? Those charms that came out like maybe 1988, 89, the African charms, those they lasted for about 2 years and they disappeared real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. Now, after reading all this, it actually made me feel a few different ways. The first emotion I felt was shocked, because I was definitely taken back by this, just knowing the level of evil that's involved by even thinking of a plan like this. You know what I'm saying? The second emotion I felt was anger. Anger because it's not enough for them to exploit our culture and make all the money off of it. Mm-hmm. Because let's keep it real, the industry has never been favorable towards the artists. Never. But they're going to go beyond the artists to get the artists to influence and lure in the consumer, which they knew at the time were mainly minorities.
Yep.
In other words, keep promoting gangster rap so that the youngsters will be influenced by them, which in turn will incite them to want to act like them, and it's a very good chance they'll end up in their prison.
Yeah.
So they're getting paid twice. They're getting paid from the artists they signing, and then they're getting paid from the people that these artists influence that goes to prison trying to be like these artists.
And I'm going to stop the video right there, man. Yes, sir. Shout out to the brother Sensei Rip of Forgotten Kingz TV, man, for that very insightful video, man. I will leave the links of the video down in the bottom of the description below. Yes, sir. Before I wrap it up, man, I'm going to give you my thoughts, man. How I feel is like I said earlier. I agree with Special Ed to a degree. Meaning, like I said, I know what he was saying. And everything he said was right on point. But again, at the same time, it wasn't just NWA. You know what I'm saying? They used NWA as a vehicle to promote everything over the sun, as you heard in the secret meeting, to build these privately funded, the prison industrial complex is what I'm trying to say. They build up these privately funded prison systems so they can get us and put us in them. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people who was around can remember when EPMD, you had EPMD, you had rappers like them, but at the same time, you had Kwame, you had a lot of positive rappers you had Gangstar, you had Public Enemy, you had BDP, KRS-One, Poor Righteous Teachers, you had X-Clan, you know what I'm saying? Even in the West Coast, you had positive, like Freestyle Fellowship. You had Dale the Funky Homo Sapien, which is actually Ice Cube's cousin, by the way, for folks that don't know. In his collective, Hieroglyphics, Souls of Mischief, all them people that was connected together. They was the positive side of the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? But everything that they did in that era, they did not push it to sell because they was only focusing on gangster rap and used that as a vehicle to promote everything else over the sun. So again, I agree with Special Ed, but at the same time, I feel like it was bigger than NWA. You know what I'm saying? The corporations, the regular execs. Because you got to remember, before NWA, or even around in between the time frame of NWA, rappers weren't making that much money. Like, it's not like rappers today. Like, rappers they make some boatloads of money and stuff. But back then, they wasn't making that much money. Like, it was worse then. Even though it's still the same game plan, the only difference is it's only just a little increase on the money per se. But it was a little bit more worse back then. And you had all these different groups. You got to think about the era. You had groups like De La Soul, who was positive in their spirit and their rhymes and stuff. The whole native tongue thing, the whole native tongue, Moni, Queen Latifah, Tribe Called Quest, Jungle Brothers, all of that. All of them was a full alternative hip hop. They was the alternative to gangster rap. You know what I'm saying? Then you get down later in the years, you end up catching groups in the South. Of course, you had Ghetto Boys, Two Live Crew, and all them people, but they would never be completed. You know what I'm saying? You start getting other groups like Outkast and Goody Mob later on, and rap groups like 8 Ball, MJG, and whatnot. I'm saying all that to say this. We all know how the industry play. And the secret meeting was the thing that they used to make NWA bigger than what they were. Now, I'm not saying that they is not a willing participant or nothing, because like I always say in my videos, all your favorite artists and all your favorite rappers and them, they are all pawns of the industry, which means they all got to get down to lay down in order to be given graces to be a part of the industry. You know what I'm saying? And NWA, any other group that was around at that time frame, they were no exception. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to remember, in the first album of NWA, they had songs like Express Yourself, which is positive. Then once you get to Niggas for Life and after Cube left and whatnot, that's when things started shifting to more of the shocking of rap. You know what I'm saying? Things got more shocking per se. It was more like shocking you, you know. And like I said, a lot of people got a lot of opinions, but my opinion, how I see it is, I feel like it was bigger than NWA. It was bigger than the so-called gangster rap of the times. They used what they were speaking on as a weapon in order to promote what they wanted to promote and to have what they have. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to always remember, at that time, hip hop did not have that many opportunities like other genres of music. So it was different. And another case in point before I end my video, remember MC Hammer. MC Hammer was one of the biggest rap stars at one time. He was one of the biggest. He was the first rapper to ever go diamond. You know what I'm saying? And you remember how the West Coast and the East Coast were coming at Hammer, saying he was lame, he wasn't good for the rap game, and all this type of stuff. But yet, Hammer was the positive side of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Hammer was the entertainer. He was dancing, had the dance moves. He had the girls in the background. The girls had the dance groups and shit. Hammer was doing this shit, and he was from Oakland. And Hammer was beefing with several rappers in his time frame. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it was bigger than NWA. They use them as a vehicle to push what you got in order to see that they use the branding of what they created as the age of destruction. So that's how I see it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all tell me how y'all feel down in the comments. So yeah, man, that's the video, man. You already know what it is, man. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. For my subscribers, I appreciate you. You know, I see y'all in the next video. Check out Sensei Rip. I'm gonna leave his link down in the bottom of the description below. Forgotten Kingz TV. Shout out to him and his channel, man. Peace and one love.